Eagles won the toss. They've elected to receive. Macho Harris, rookie, will run the kickback. They had been using Ellis Hobbs over the first half of the season, but he's been on IR now for about a month. Andy Reid, with a new 3-year extension to his contract, is in tow. 11th year at the helm in Philadelphia. Battle for first in the NFC East. And away we go from the Meadowlands. Harris at the 8-yard line. Up the middle to the 33-yard line where Kevin Dockery makes the tackle. Let's take a look at the Eagle starters.
Donovan McNabb, Syracuse University.
LaShawn McCoy, Pitt Panthers.
Leonard Weaver, Melbourne, Florida.
Deshaun Jackson, Long Beach Poly.
Jeremy Mackin, Mizzou Tiger.
Brent Selleck, Cincinnati.
Jason Peters, Arkansas.
Todd Harriman, Saginaw Valley.
Jamal Jackson, Delaware State.
Nick Cole, New Mexico State.
Winston Justice, Southern Cal.
And the Eagles will start with a 3-receiver set. That means Jason Avant is the third wide out, and they begin on the ground with a nice run and a first down for McCoy. The rookie out of Pittsburgh, drafted in the 2nd round. Brian Westbrook is still not able to play. The effects of 2 concussions, and misses his 7th game tonight.
Well, the big difference in the first game between these two teams was the Philadelphia Eagles' ability to run the football. And right now, the New York Giants, early in this one, are answering with Michael Boley and Brian Keel in there as linebackers. And I think McNabb is thinking we might be able to run it again.
Out of the shotgun, emptying the backfield with motion, and McNabb throws, and that'll be caught up at the 50-yard line. Tight end Brent Selleck, his #1 target. Let's take a look at the Giant D.
Justin Tuck, Notre Dame.
Barry Cofield, Northwestern.
Chris Canty, Wahoo Wah.
Matthias Kiwanuka, Boston College.
Danny Clark, Illinois.
Jonathan Goff, Vanderbilt University.
Michael Boley, Southern Miss.
Corey Webster, LSU.
Aaron Rouse, Virginia Tech.
Aaron Ross, the University of Texas.
Terrell Thomas, USC.
Wahoo Wah, by the way, interpreted as the University of Virginia.
Defense, number 96, 5-yard penalty. Result of the play, penalty, first down.
That's Barry Cofield coming across the line as the Eagles came up without huddling. So Cofield with the encroachment penalty, and that will move the ball to the 45-yard line and a first down.
You see the graphic there, the 2 big runs in that first game. Really the difference, and when they were able to run the ball like that, all the play action set up big plays in the passing game too.
Now here is Weaver, and he has really been something. Leonard Weaver, a fullback in Seattle, and they picked him up. He was looking for a bigger and better contract and got one, and not only has he done a great job blocking and receiving from time to time, but also running the ball out of the tailback spot.
Big powerful move inside by Todd Harriman and Jamal Jackson against Chris Canty, who I thought played a great game last week for the New York Giants, coming in there holding the point. Didn't hold the point that time against the double team.
And here is Michael Vick making his first appearance. He's scored last week on the ground and threw a touchdown pass, and this time he fakes it to Weaver, and Vick's going to throw deep downfield, and it will be taken in at the 9-yard line, setting up a 1st and goal as he hits Deshaun Jackson. So the Eagles come out on fire tonight and have the ball at the 7-yard line, 1st and goal.
Well, Michael Vick has been so effective running the football here lately. You see the guard and the tackle both pull that way. Bootleg to his right, away from the strong hand side for Michael Vick, and he really had 2 guys open down the field. But you can see Michael Vick starting to really settle in now as a quarterback in this league. He's been playing much better lately.
There was McNabb's reaction, and Donovan is back under center on 1st down and goal. And Weaver will go nowhere. That time he runs right into one of the new Giants, Michael Boley, formerly of the Falcons in his 5th year out of Southern Mississippi. The Giants, when it comes to red zone defense this year, are last in the league, 70%. That means every time the opponent has the ball inside the Giant 20, they score 7 times, get into the end zone 7 times out of 10.
Well, after the way the Eagles put it on them last time, the last thing in the world you want is have them come down here and score a touchdown on their opening drive. They need to kill some Eagle momentum now.
2nd and goal from the 8-yard line. And McNabb throws it back to Selleck, and Selleck will fight his way into the end zone for an Eagle touchdown. 67 yards, 6 plays, 3 runs and 3 passes, and the 32-yard pass by Michael Vick, the key play along the way. 6-0 Philadelphia.
Brent Selleck with a tight end screen as Umanura goes around him. Selleck just turns around, and how impressive was that drive? That was easier than what they did in Philadelphia when they blew him out.
Selleck now with 58 receptions this season, topping the chart for Philadelphia as David Akers kicks the extra point. And just like that, 3.5 minutes in, it's 7-0 Eagles. Giant defense, and we'll get into that and the changes they made last week. And they got shredded on that first drive. 67 yards, 3.5 minutes. Akers to kick off. Dominic Hickson runs back with kicks and punts for the Giants from the 5. Comes back out to the 33-yard line. We'll take a look right now at the New York offense.
Eli Manning, Ole Miss.
Brandon Jacobs, Southern Illinois.
Madison Hitchcock, North Carolina.
Steve Smith, Southern Cal.
Hakeem Nicks, North Carolina.
Kevin Boss, Western Oregon.
Dave Deal, University of Chief-O-Network.
Rich Soibert, Western Illinois.
Sean O'Hara, Rutgers University.
Chris Snee, Boston College.
Kareem McKenzie, Penn State.
Nick's a rookie out of North Carolina, earning his way into the starting lineup tonight. And Manning on play action on first down throws, and that's incomplete. Intended for Jacobs over the middle, and it will be 2nd down and 10. The Giants in the first quarter over the last 7 games have not scored a touchdown. That's the longest such drought for this team since back in the mid-90s. But Eli, once he gets into the second quarter, really heats up. Second and 10 from the 33-yard line. And here's Jacobs. And Jacobs plunging forward and taking the Eagles with him with a good run, a churning run up to the 41-yard line. It's 6'4", 264, a hard-earned gain of 8.
The one thing the Philadelphia Eagles did not want to see was this. Brandon Jacobs, after contact, making another 3, 4, 5, 6 yards on that run. And Brandon Jacobs, Tom Coughlin, maybe for the first time all year, was really happy with how he ran last week. Thought he was much tougher. That's a heck of a start there.
Getting more than half his yardage this year after contact. Then they've got Ahmad Bradshaw in the game on 3rd and 2. And Manning goes over the middle and finds Steve Smith for a first down up at the 46-yard line. Steve Smith with his 79th catch of the season, good for 15 yards.
Boy, you could see Eli really locking on to his favorite receiver, Steve Smith. Usually on the slant, he gets the ball there. Didn't get it there, get it right there. No, he actually ran to the 3rd hole that was possible, and Eli never took his eyes off of him. You talk to the Philadelphia Eagles, they tell you in 3rd down situations, if Smith isn't there, Eli is really uncomfortable, and you could see it.
Now at the Philadelphia 44-yard line. Here's Jacobs over right guard. And Jacobs loses the ball. And it's picked up by Brown. And Brown will go all the way to the end zone. And the Giants right now are stunned as Jacobs loses the ball and Philadelphia with a 2-touchdown lead. And a little extracurricular stuff with Witherspoon involved in it.
Well, it was Trent Cole chasing this one down from the backside, getting there. And then I think it was Chris Goko. No, that was Trent Cole all the way. The ball just popped out on Brandon Jacobs. I think he was surprised. All the way from the backside, a hustle play, gets his arm right on it. And that is what we see game after game out of Trent Cole. That sort of hustle. And for Brandon Jacobs, that's a disaster.
Second fumble of the year for Jacobs, and that's the 5th touchdown of Sheldon Brown's 8-year career. Akers for the extra point. Sav Rocca puts it down, and the Giants have been rocked. 5 minutes and 20 seconds into the game on Sunday Night Football. 14-0, Philadelphia. Giants will get the ball now, but they're down 14-0 after Sheldon Brown's second touchdown in 2 weeks. And this is Hickson fielding the ball at the 4-yard line. And great coverage as he's tackled at the 14-yard line by Eldra Buckley as we go back to the Jacobs fumble.
You can see Brandon Jacobs starting off with 2 hands on the football, but he got in a comfort zone right here. He thought he was in open space and just did not see Trent Cole coming from the backside. And then Brandon Jacobs decided that he was going to cut off those rubber sleeves that you saw. Here's Trent Cole hustling from the backside and just getting his hand there on the arm, and there go the rubber sleeves. Remember Amon Green, John Madden talking about it in Green Bay a few years back? There they go.
Absolutely. Ball on the 15-yard line. Jacobs is the back, 1st and 10. Eagles come on a blitz. Short pass underneath. That's the tight end, Kevin Boss, for a minimal gain. Let's take a look at the Philadelphia defense.
Quay Parker, Oklahoma State.
Mike Patterson, D, Southern California.
Broderick Bunkley, Florida State University.
Trent Cole, Cincinnati.
Chris Gokon, Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo.
Jeremiah Trotter, Stephen F. Austin State.
Will Witherspoon, Georgia.
Asante Samuel, UCF Knights.
Quentin Michael, Boise State.
Sean Jones, Georgia.
Sheldon Brown, South Carolina.
And Joselio Hansen is the nickel back, and he's in on this play. And there goes Jacobs over the right side, finally taken down by the safety, Sean Jones. That's a gain of 13 and a first down.
Nice job by here. Rich Seibert coming in here with a big kick-out block. And Brandon Jacobs sleeveless now. He's a little angry as well. You never know. Maybe that'll get him fired up for the rest of this game. But he's coming out here and running hard, but I'm sure he's embarrassed after that opening fumble. He hurt this team.
Sleeveless and angry. It's a good combination. The Giants can only hope. From the 31-yard line. And on a slant, this is Nix. And the Giants' #1 pick in the draft takes it to the 49-yard line. Quick drop, quick throw on a slant, 17 yards, first down.
Well, this is the Giants' version of Anquan Bolden, just a simple route coming inside. And you've got to like Akeem Nix. He is a big, strong, physical guy, a lot of yards after the catch. Showed the ability to go up high and catch a ball a week ago. They really need some big plays down the field. If you've seen these Eagles games in the past, Plexico Burress made so many plays when they tried to come up and blitz, really kind of forced the Eagles out of some of those blitzes.
Smith goes under the slot, and you got Manning looking, throwing, and it's incomplete. And it's good coverage by Samuel, who says no way, not on that one. Intended for Hakeem Nix. 2nd down and 10.
Well, I kiboshed another guy. As soon as I talked about how big and strong and physical he was, ability to go up and make a play on the ball.
Great hands, the whole thing.
You know, I gave him the whole build-up.
Eagle defensive coordinator there is Sean McDermott, who took over for the late Jim Johnson, and the JJ on the back of the Eagle helmets. An ode to the late Jim Johnson. Kevin Gilbride is the Giants offensive coordinator. Sends in this play on 2nd down and 10. 3-step drop, and Manning throws over the middle, and he hits Smith, and that will be a first down to the 38-yard line. And for Steve Smith, he's now homing in on the Giants team record of 82 receptions by Amani Toomer. That's 80, and he's over 1,000 for the season.
But he has really turned into some kind of slot receiver, too. He's a guy that understands protections. He understands hot reads. On the same page with Eli. He's been really their best receiver by far.
Bradshaw's the tailback now. Here goes Ahmad Bradshaw running on 2 sore ankles and a bad foot. Outside of that, no problem.
You know, and it really has been part of the problem, I think, for this Giants running game this year. Bradshaw has had the ankles and the feet problem, and DJ Ware had the elbow on opening day and then the concussion after that. So you haven't seen them in practice. It has really fallen all on Brandon Jacobs to have to carry the load for the most part. And especially those lost snaps in practice really make a difference and add up.
2nd down and 9. It was that scene in New Orleans when Eli read out Bradshaw for missing an assignment on the field. And here goes Bradshaw over the left side. And the Eagles converge and stop him after a very short gain at the 38-yard line. Or in fact, no gain. It'll be 3rd down and 9.
Yeah, nice play there by Chris Gokong. This linebacker situation for the Philadelphia Eagles has been a mess this year. By my count, they have now played 7 different guys at middle linebacker. They've kind of gone back to the future. Now they're back to Jeremiah Trotter, who didn't play football at all last year, and he stepped in and done a pretty nice job.
Well, in training camp, they lost Stuart Bradley, who would have been the guy. He went on injured reserve, and it's been mix and match since. 3rd and 9. Eagles showing blitz, as they often do. Overloading to the left defensive side. Here they come. Manning gets it away, hits Smith, but Smith will be stopped short of the 1st down at the 29-yard line by Sheldon Brown. And the Giants are now faced with a 4th and 1. And right now, for the moment, they're going to go for it, because here comes Jacobs and the rest of the heavy package into the game.
Yeah, I really thought that Steve Smith had kept going on that when he hesitated just a minute. No coverage inside. He might have even scored a touchdown on that one.
Manning wants some quiet. 4th down and a long one. And here's Jacobs. And Jacobs is able to pick up that 1st down. You don't win or lose a game in the 1st quarter, but that was big. That was big for a 1st quarter play.
Yeah. You could almost tell what this one was going to be. Soibert coming around here. This is their favorite play, kicking out on Quentin Michael, who's the leading tackler for the Eagles. Coming up through there. Just power football. And for the New York Giants, short yardage hasn't always been their friend, but I'm up big on that one.
10th play coming. Ball at the 27-yard line. And Manning has it deflected in the air, and it will fall to the wet turf, incomplete. Fortunately for Eli, the ball batted high. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
You know, for Eli Manning, this has been an up and down kind of year. That great start. They came out 5-0, 10 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. During the 2-5 streak since, 10 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and 11 total picks on the year. That's more than he had all of last season.
Talked about the Giants' troubles in the 1st quarter, Eli's problems. 2nd quarter is a completely different story. But the Giants right now looking to manifest this drive with a score. And that's almost picked off. It turns out to be a reception by Boss at the 9-yard line. Kevin Boss is the recipient of a lot of good fortune after it was tipped by Trotter.
Jeremiah Trotter had this played absolutely perfectly and just didn't come up with the ball. Watch him right here. Going to run right underneath Kevin Boss. Has it played, gets his head turned around right in his hands, and flips it over to Boss. Jeremiah Trotter really is not much of a pass defender. Generally, they like to blitz him because he doesn't do well, but that time he was there.
Here's Ahmad Bradshaw on a 1st and goal, getting stuffed at the 8-yard line by Broderick Bunkley.
You know, this is such a big game. You just can't overemphasize the importance of this particular drive. You know, you're down 14-0. You've gotten a bad break, but you just got a good break right there. A missed interception. Now can you take advantage?
Under 3 minutes to go in the quarter. Really sprinted out to a 2-touchdown lead. 13th play of the drive. 2nd down and goal. Good protection. And then he throws that one under the back of the end zone. That was Samuel covering Steve Smith. It will be 3rd down and goal for the Giants.
Complete miscommunication there. They tried to run one of those sluggo routes, sort of a slant and go, but it just wasn't there. Asante Samuel all over that one. Asante Samuel, if you're going to beat him, those double moves are the best ways to beat him. Unfortunately, there was really no room to run that route. You need that out around the 25 or 30-yard line.
3rd and goal from the 8. Stack 3 receivers to the right. Manning will go to the left, and it is out of bounds from Mario Manningham. As so often is the case when you have trips one way and a single receiver to the other side, they go to Manningham, but Manningham was out of bounds as he hauls it in. 4th down, and in comes the field goal unit.
Blitz this side, and you want to squeeze that guy as hard as you can inside. Sheldon Brown, you know you're going to run out of real estate out there. So the more pressure you can put on that defensive back, pressing him inside to give yourself more room on the outside, could have been a touchdown, a blown opportunity.
Lawrence Tynes, 26-yard field goal attempt. Field goes to hold, and the Giants at least come up with 3. After a 15-play drive, the Philly lead is 11. Five-yard line. Harris. And Macho Harris brings it back out to the 31. That's where the Eagles set up shop. Late in the first quarter, 14-3 Eagles. Well, Mario Manningham, and that's been a recurring problem for him, and he's been able to make the catch and stayed inbounds. The Giants would have had 7 instead of 3. It's a 14-3 game as Philadelphia takes over now at its own 31-yard line. LaShawn McCoy is the running back. 3 receiver set with Avant in the slot. And the rookie from Pitt takes it to the 32 as we go back to the Manningham play.
Well, Sheldon Brown right here has to play inside, because when they get the blitz here, he has to cover this slant because all this field is open. So all they have to do, Mario Manningham, is just force that inside technique. Pressure him down inside, and he'll have a big wide open field. But you see, he just runs straight up the field, and by doing that, he makes it easy on Sheldon Brown and ultimately runs out of football field to make the catch.
Work on that geometry is what he has to do.
Yeah.
2nd down and 9. And McNabb, and he'll just flip it incomplete. Nothing developing for Donovan. And
one of the things that the Eagles burned them on the last time were some screens across the formation. That time about 3 Giants defensive linemen tackled LaShawn McCoy as he tried to make his way across there.
Yep. McNabb was out of the pocket. That's the announcement. And there is Tom Coughlin, who really got into it last week. Even getting into the team huddle before the game, something he hadn't done. 3rd down and 9. And McNabb pressured, slips away, and then throws low and incomplete. But the pressure was put on Donovan up the middle to force him off the spot. Still the pass incomplete. The Giants secondary does its job, and it's 4th down.
Nice job by Mathias Kiwanuka right there, I think. He's going to come up and just make his move against Nick Cole, and that kind of pressure forced Donovan to just throw it away. So a big defensive stand there for the Giants.
Hickson, who ran a punt back last week to cement the victory over Dallas, is back and calls for a fair catch and won't even have to make that as Sav Rocca's punt bounds out of bounds. And there's a marker down at about the Giant 47-yard line. John Parry back with us. We had him on the whistle last week in the Minnesota-Arizona game. A Sunday night staple.
There you go. There you go. There you can see the official there with his hat off. So somebody ran out of bounds, and it's a matter of whether he tried to get back in soon enough or was blocked out of bounds.
Tom really loves this call.
Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness. Taking a gunner out of bounds, making contact while out of bounds. This penalty will be assessed from the dead ball spot. 1st and 10.
You can take him out, but you can't contact him out of bounds. with 1:19 to go in the first quarter. 14-3 Eagles. Tom Coughlin still heated up over that call, and we'll take a look at it after this next play. That cost the Giants 15 yards. Instead of the 32-yard line, they'll start from their own 17-yard line, down by 11 late first quarter. Jacobs. Gain of about 8. Back to the penalty on Terrell Thomas, who takes Quentin Demps out of bounds. You can take him out of bounds. You can't ride him any farther than that. And you'll take a look at this. He rides him like into the equipment room here, Chris.
Yeah, you know, it's hard to say it's not a great play. I mean, Terrell Thomas made a great play, but you have to stop. You know, when you see the white line, you have to sort of let him go, give him a chance to run back on the playing field, and then hit him again. It's a good call by the officials. It's absolutely right.
Chris Coughlin had a good view of it happening on the Giants sideline. The ball is at the 24-yard line. It's second down and 3. Toss to Jacobs, and he cannot get out of the backfield because knifing through is Jeremiah Trotter in his 11th season. Chris talking about the mixes and matches they've had to make at middle linebacker. They have to sparingly use him, though. He can't play every down, but when he's in there, he can be very effective.
Unless he plays every down like this, and then he'd be able to.
Right.
Just found the hole. That time Chris Nee overran him and went in the back door. That's a nice play by Trotter.
This padded move, the axe. Third down and 6 at the 21-yard line, and that's going to do it for the first quarter. End of 1 at the Meadowlands with the score. Philadelphia 14 and the New York Giants 3. And Sunday Night Football is back after these messages. Right now the Giants in the second quarter trailing by 11 with a third down and 6 at their own 21-yard line. So much action up front with John Parry.
False start. Number 67. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
Eagles moving up and down and back and forth, and Kareem McKenzie jumped.
I'll tell you what, that was an interesting look that time by the Philadelphia Eagles defensively. They were sitting there in a very basic looking defense, and when they thought that Eli was about to snap the ball, they had everybody moving. And I think the offensive line said, what the heck? This secondary, though, in a third and long situation, they're dangerous. Already 20 interceptions on the season, 5 more than they had all of last year. And Joselio Hansen back.
Third and 11. Manning stepping up and going deep and getting free and dropping it is Hakeem Nicks, and a flag is down back at the 42-yard line. At the Giants' 42-yard line. Beat Quentin Michael. Here's John Parry's call.
Prior to the pass being thrown, illegal contact. Number 27, defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Big break for the Giants after it looked like the Giants let 6 points go a-wasting.
Oh my goodness, Hakeem Nicks, watch this. This is what the Eagles do to get interceptions. They roll him up and they roll the safety back. Unfortunately, when you get a wide receiver on a safety, it's hard for him to cover him deep. He gives the illegal contact there, but that is a walk-in. And Hakeem Nicks, who's getting his first start tonight for Mario Manningham, that hurts. Ooh.
So the Giants now for the first down from the 21. That play fake buys a lot of time, and then it's again off the hands of Nicks. A much tougher catch this time. But Asante Samuel was there, and he had position on him and can't haul it in. Second down.
Good route again, this time by Hakeem Nicks, and this is the battle he has to win, that
Prior
post
to the
corner.
pass being thrown, illegal contact. Number 27, defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
And that's away from the play on the other side, and that's back-to-back on Quentin Michael.
Al, only a former receiver would understand this. Sometimes you so poorly time your jump that you're coming down and your body is all out of flux, and you just go, what the heck? I thought the thing was coming. And for Akeem Nicks, oh boy, this is the biggest game of the year, and that's embarrassing back to back.
Goldie talking to him. That's when you want to have helium in your body. Up to the 30-yard line, Ahmad Bradshaw picks up a couple.
Well, when you see the size of those hands, they are monstrous. You think that the game would be pretty easy. But at least not so far. It hasn't been. Oh, you know, and the worst part about it is those kind of plays in New York tend to live for a long time when you do them on national television.
Yep. In New York, even on regional television.
Yep.
2nd and 7 from the 29. And that's caught by Boss. And he's taken down by Michael at the 31-yard line. And for the Giants now, 3rd down and 5.
Nice read that time by Kevin Boss, seeing the hot read. And I tell you, Eli has just gotten so sophisticated as a quarterback. You know, we always talk about Peyton and Tom Brady and even Donovan and their knowledge of the game. But every time you see Eli now, he just seems to understand the game. He understands all those hot reads. He's really not thinking anymore out there. He's just reacting to what he sees. Saw the blitz, got it out to Kevin Boss quickly.
And durable, too. Hasn't missed a start since he took over for Kurt Warner as a rookie in 04. 3rd and 4. And Manning throws, and that's caught. And this time, Nicks holds on and breaks away inside the 30, the 20, the 10. Touchdown, Giants.
All is forgiven.
Samuel had a chance to get him. Quentin Michael, who had 2 penalties on the drive, had a chance to get him. Neither could.
Watch the way he snatches this football out of the air. We saw the big hands. He's going to snatch this thing down to his body, make the spin move, off to the races. That's why he's starting for the Giants. How about that? Yeah, just, you know, that's like a rebound right there. That is something else. Shaq would have been proud of that one.
It's a rebound in a lot of ways on that drive. Tynes for the extra point. And the Giants now with 10 unanswered points. What a crazy drive. 14-10, Philadelphia. Here's Tynes kicking off in a 14-10 game. Ball at the 6. Macho Harris back up to the 24-yard line.
Well, we'd like to introduce Akeem Nicks to America. The opening act wasn't very good, but he got the penalty, which really kept that drive alive. Second one, a little too soon in the air. But as long as you have a great closing act, you'll be remembered for a long time.
Kevin Gilbride right there, the offensive coordinator.
Well, 1 for 3 if you're a Yankees, pretty good, right?
Good curtain call at the end of that one. 1st and 10 of the 24. McNabb. And he fires, and that's taken at the 45-yard line by the tight end, Selleck. And that's his 3rd grab of the night, and it's good for 23 yards.
And Selleck, playing with a dislocated thumb, struggled a little bit in pregame warm-up trying to catch the football, but he has really become a weapon for this football team, working down the field one-on-one against Aaron Rouse and so many different players at the safety position this year. But watch Brent Selleck in pregame warm-up. I tell you, there's nothing worse when your thumb hurts trying to catch a football. You don't even want to put it on that. So you know he's out there playing with a little pain tonight, but he's been hot this year.
From the 46-yard line, Weaver, who busted a 41-yard run for a touchdown in the first meeting on November 1st, and that's a 1st down. The Giant defense undergoing a lot of changes. Teams were running against the Giants, and Tom Coughlin said before the Dallas game, I just couldn't look at this anymore. So they went to the bench, and they brought Kiwanuka in to take Umanura's spot at one end. Chris Canty came back into the lineup, into the starting lineup with Fred Robbins backing him up as you look at first-year defensive coordinator Bill Sheridan. But there were moves that the team felt had to be made, and Weaver now takes the ball to the 39. And of course, the Giants are minus a couple of really key guys. Kenny Phillips, the safety who got hurt in the Dallas game week 2, and Antonio Pierce, their middle linebacker, is also gone for the season on injured reserve. So the Giants have had, like the Eagles, had to do a lot of mixing and matching.
Yeah, they really have. And the guy that I thought helped them the most last week was Chris Canty, right there over the nose tackle position. My only question is, did he get fired up to play against his old team, the Cowboys? Or are we going to see that out here tonight, too? I haven't seen it so far, but we'll keep an eye on it as the night goes along.
2nd down and 5. The ball is at the 40-yard line. McNabb swings it out, and McCoy makes the catch, and that will set up a 3rd down and short.
Well, 4 defensive ends in the ball game now for the Giants across the board. It's one of their looks. They've got Clint Senum on the outside, but once again, it's the pressure up inside by Kiwanuka that's been the difference. When they take those defensive end types in on those guards, it is awfully hard to come up with a play and block those guys.
And here's Michael Vick, his 2nd play of the night. He played on the first series. 3rd down and 3. Taking a shotgun snap. And Vick's going to run it himself. And Michael Vick to the outside, turns the corner and picks up the 1st down. He's out of bounds at the 32-yard line.
Well, this is one of those sequence plays. Remember the one they ran to open the game, the sort of bootleg action, this time coming around this way. And instead of going the other way, Mike Vick just follows him. And Al, we've been talking about it this week, but I really feel like that we're starting to see Mike Vick again. You know, early in the season, he just wasn't in shape. He wasn't fast. His arm didn't look strong. But every single week, every time I've seen him on tape, he's been a little bit better. We're starting to see Mike Vick.
A rushing and passing touchdown last week in Atlanta. And McNabb fires over the middle and completes it to Jackson at the 15-yard line. Deshaun Jackson missing last week's game after sustaining a concussion in the game against Washington. And he's made a ton of big plays this season.
And Deshaun Jackson just finding a little hole in the zone right there. But what a talent this young man is. This really isn't man coverage. You don't say this is Corey Webster's fault. They're just playing his zone. He found the hole in it. But this is the young man that everybody said was too small. He couldn't possibly play in the NFL. He has been electrifying.
And cutting it back is McCoy to the 10-yard line. Let's quickly go to Andrea.
Right, Jeremy Maclin, who had plantar fasciitis in the left foot, was carted off the field. He was questionable coming into this game. His head was covered by a towel. He was nearly in tears, Al.
Well, Maclin, of course, has done a great job in his rookie season. He was their #1 pick. That means we'll see a lot of Avant and also more of Reggie Brown in the game. 86, 2nd down and 4.
Notice that Umanura didn't look too happy coming off the field there.
McNabb throws, caught on the outside, and that's going to be a 1st and goal as LaShawn McCoy takes it to the 3. And for so many years, the Eagles revolving around McNabb and Brian Westbrook. And for Brian this year, it's been kind of a lost season. The 2 concussions, he's missing his 7th game tonight, and they're fortunate in the draft they picked up McCoy, number 29.
Big time blown coverage that time. Michael Boley was trying to signal back to his safety what they were going to do, and ended up neither one of them picked up the back coming out of the backfield. And really, if McCoy hadn't taken so long to turn around, he probably scores a touchdown there.
Eagles began this drive at their own 23, halfway through the 2nd quarter. And to the 1-yard line. McCoy making it a 2nd down and goal.
Well, I tell you what, that time Barry Cofield got in the backfield against Nick Cole and just totally destroyed that play right here. Watch this combination.
And Michael Vick coming back in.
All the way back in the backfield, and no way, no how that's going to work.
Now you've got McNabb and Vick both in the game. And this time they're going to split Vick out to the left. McNabb comes under center. Vick in motion. Toss it to him. Turns around. Looking to throw it. Does. And knocked away at the very last moment on a pass intended for Reggie Brown. And it's Aaron Rouse who comes in there and deflects it.
Vick took a little too long on that throw. Reggie Brown was there, but he just didn't pick him up soon enough. He's going to come in motion, look like a reverse, go back around the other way with Donovan McNabb as a lead blocker. But Reggie Brown running in the back of the end zone had 4 or 5 steps, but he just took too long to get it there and threw it behind him.
And
Aaron Rouse could not have gotten there.
Start of the season with Green Bay came over. A Giant starter now. They have Rouse and Ross at safeties. 3rd and goal. McNabb throws over the middle, and that gets deflected. And the Giant defense stiffens. And we talked about how inept they have been in red zone coverage. And McNabb looks around and says, where's the yellow? 4th and goal.
Back-to-back plays by Aaron Rouse. He's got perfect coverage right here. And this is just, is the referee going to call it or not call it? Tried to do a little rub. There's a hold. There's a pull. Easily could have been called, but you know, this is Philly, New York, Giants, Eagles. Sometimes they let them go.
And they do. 20-yard field goal attempt for Akers. Savraka, the holder. And the Eagles get 3, but the Giants stiffen, hold them to the field goal after a 75-yard drive. And the Eagle lead is 7. Giant Stadium winding down its existence. A lot of unbelievable memories. The miracle of the Meadowlands, a miracle for the Eagles, a disaster for the Giants back in November of '78. The Joe Pisarcik fumble. Randall Cunningham with a 91-yard punt 20 years ago. Jason Sehorn with that big interception return for a touchdown in the playoff game after the 2000 season. Westbrook with a big 84-yard punt return for a touchdown. 12 sacks a couple of years ago. 6 by Human Euro. Winston Justice had a horrendous night, but he's okay right now as the starting right tackle for the Philadelphia Eagles. But some of the memories at Giant Stadium, where more NFL games have been played through history than at any other venue. Because when you have 2 teams and you're open for 30 some odd years, it's easy to do that.
This one's starting to feel like it might be a little something before it's said and done, too.
Yep. Akers kick, a good angled boot fielded by Hickson at the 3-yard line. And the Eagles swarm him at the 19, led by Tracy White. 6.5 to go in the half. Philadelphia 17 and the Giants 10. It's a good pair to draw to if you're the defensive coordinator. Sheldon Brown with the 5 picks, including one last week. Fumble return for a touchdown tonight. Asante Samuel, they both love to jump routes. Samuel with 7 interceptions. The Eagle corners in there now as the Giants start this drive with a Jacobs run. And he's losing his shirt as he gets to the 23-yard line, tackled by Patterson.
You know, and how good is this secondary? You've got Sheldon Brown and Asante Samuel, 7 and 5 interceptions. Only Charles Woodson and Nick Collins, his teammates, can match that number. And I tell you, you talk to some of the Eagles defenders and coaches, they really want to make a push for Sheldon Brown to make the Pro Bowl this year. Big interception return for a touchdown last week and the fumble recovery for a touchdown this week.
Here's Jacobs. And he bulldozes his way too close to a first down, and it will be as they'll spot the ball just shy of the 30-yard line, tackled by Trotter.
One thing about the Giants, when something works, they're going to stay with it. Not real sophisticated. You get Madison Hedgecock in there, Rich Seubert in there, and 260 pounds of man running hard tonight in behind it. I don't know, maybe that fumble is the best thing that could have happened to the Giants. Seems like Jacobs a little upset.
From the 30-yard line. Off the fake, under pressure. Manning escapes, throws, and then it's dropped up at the 48-yard line by Nix. Covered by Asante Samuel, but a good escape, a nice job to get out of the grasp of Jaquay Parker.
Well, it looks like this is going to be 1 for 4 so far for Akeem Nicks. Let's see if Asante Samuel, who is reading Eli all the way, gets his hands on there or not. You know, everybody always talks about, and every announcer on television talks about, extend your hands to make the catch. Sometimes when you're going over the middle, if you can wrap your whole body around it, that was always my option, because when you reach out for it, a good hard swat on the arm can knock it out.
2nd and 10, inside handoff. Here's Bradshaw, and he will go nowhere. Patterson is there, and Hakeem Jordan, who comes back after missing the last 4 games, in on the stop.
The big guys inside have made such a difference for this football team. Check out Mike Patterson right here on Sean O'Hara, an awfully good player, is just going to play off that block, get back in there and make the play, along with Hakeem Jordan, who is another guy now is going to play middle linebacker. They've tried everybody in there.
Bill Bergey's coming back, I heard. 3rd and 9. And Manning against the grain throws, and it's out of bounds as Smith tries to bat it to himself, and it will be 4th down.
Boy, the Giants receivers have been coming so close, going to come up and run the corner out here. You know, these are tough catches, but this is the NFL, and sometimes you make one of those and you can change a game, and can't say he should have had it, but could have had it.
Deshaun Jackson averaging almost 16 yards a return and leading the league in punt return average. And this is Fiegel's kick off the side of his foot, fielded at the 29. And Jackson, after circling back, comes down the sideline, and Fiegel's can't knock him out of bounds, and he will go all the way for a touchdown. So the league leader in punt return average, and what a run back as he starts to the inside. He gets pinned on a boot off the side of Fiegel's foot, and he runs it back 72 yards. The Giants thought the sideline was their friend. It wasn't.
Dominic Hickson was really in perfect position right down the sideline to contain it, but then he got trapped back inside. So when Deshaun Jackson folded back around, that perfect position was gone. Man, what an unbelievable player this young man is. I mean, he is just so electric with his hands on the football. So many plays over 50 yards already this season. Absolutely amazing what he's done.
7 touchdowns of 50 or more yards. So he comes back off the concussion. Runs it back 72 for the score. Akers for the extra point. And late in the first half, the Eagle lead is 24-10. The Giants coming into this game had not allowed a return for a touchdown of any sort. Kickoff, punt, fumble, interception all season long. Tonight they've allowed 2. Brown with a fumble return off the Jacobs fumble. And now Deshaun Jackson with a 72-yard run back. (24-10) as David Akers sends him down to the north end zone. Dominic Hickson. And Hickson is going to lose the ball, scramble for it, and the Giants recover at the 34-yard line. Derek Hagan saving the bacon for the Giants on that one.
Now let's go back to the punt return for a minute. Remember the mistake that the Giants made by hitting a gunner out of bounds. Well, that time Dominic Hickson ran about 10 steps out of bounds, but the Eagles patiently waited for him. They were disciplined on their special teams, and it pays off with a big touchdown there. And then Hickson trying to make amends on the kickoff return. Maybe tried a little too hard.
Fiegel's the last shot at him. At the 33 now. Lamont Bradshaw takes the inside handoff. Moves out to the left. Picks up a first down. Good run. Out to the 49-yard line. It'll be a gain of 16. Tackled by the safety, Sean Jones.
I love watching the hustle of Trent Cole. I asked him about it, and he said, going back to high school, I was one of those guys, they never let me come off the field, not for a special teams breather, nothing. So just playing on one side of the ball is a piece of cake, but you'll never see him stop on a play. If it's 50 yards downfield, he still has a chance because of how hard he plays.
3.5 left in the half. Give it to Bradshaw again. And Bradshaw takes the ball into Eagle territory to the 45-yard line. Gain of 6, 2nd and 4.
Nice little trap play here that was set up by Chris Nee's movement. You'll see Chris Nee here take a step out and go down, and then the trap comes over this way. It's amazing that you think about setting up wide receivers on cornerbacks, but offensive linemen set up guys too.
Four-man rush. And it's Bradshaw, and he lunges, but he'll be short of the first down. Tackled at the 42-yard line by Jeremiah Trotter. 3rd down and 1 for the Giants.
You know, Ahmad Bradshaw, the hardest thing in the world to do is learn pass protection versus running back. The second hardest thing is you got to learn how to read defenses. That time, Ahmad Bradshaw was hooked up one-on-one on Jeremiah Trotter. If he breaks either way, he might still be running. He turns around and made it easy on Trotter.
Instead of a first down and a long gain, it's a 3rd and 1. Now he takes the toss inside the 40, breaking the tackle, and takes the ball down to the 25-yard line, and that's going to take us to the 2-minute warning. 17-yard run. 1 minute and 59 seconds remaining in the opening half at the Meadowlands, with the Philadelphia Eagles leading the Giants 24-10 in the battle for first place in the NFC. 1 minute 59 to play in the half. 1st and 10 from the 25-yard line. Manning going to the end zone, and it's incomplete. Intended for Steve Smith. Hansen, who had to miss 4 games because of a league-imposed suspension, coming back off that list, breaking it up.
Boy, I tell you what, big chance there for Steve Smith to make a play. Joselio Hansen just back. You can see he's going to put that hook up. Tell Eli I've got him here, and then went around the back side of him and just couldn't secure that one. Pretty good play that time by Hansen, just to get his hands in there and rip the arms apart.
2nd and 10 at the 25. Giants with all of their timeouts. Manning in the pocket, and it's Smith making the catch. 1st and goal at the 5-yard line. Right over the middle, in the middle of the Philadelphia secondary, and a 1st and goal.
Well, if you're going to play Jeremiah Trotter this much, who's really a good... Oh, here we go.
Kareem McKenzie.
Yeah.
Giants right tackle. And an injury timeout with 1:42. Kareem McKenzie just now getting up. The Giants have been so solid and so steady for years along that offensive front. McKenzie missed a game in late October with a groin pull, and now he comes limping off the field here.
Watch Mike Patterson right here. His knee blocks him just as McKenzie plants that left leg to take on Jaquay Parker. He's going to land right on the left knee. Ouch.
So he gets up and is assisted off, and that means Will Beatty, a rookie from Connecticut, there he is, number 65, 2nd round draft choice, 6'6" and 307, and he will come in here.
And he played earlier this year when McKenzie had the groin injury.
Against Arizona. 1st and goal, ball at the 6 with 1 minute and 42. Bradshaw gets about half the distance. 2nd and goal. Collegial pat on the helmet.
Yeah. It's interesting here to see if David Deal moved just before the snap of the ball.
30-second timeout.
Right here.
Sure did.
Yep. Got away with one.
And timeout is taken by the Giants here before a 2nd and goal. And for McKenzie, he'll get a head start back to the locker room for halftime.
You know, the tough part about this injury, obviously a lot of different things, but they've been running the ball so well. This almost looked like kind of the old Giants team, averaging over 5 yards a carry here in the first half, which really bodes well for later in the ball game. But that doesn't help.
The timeout was taken by the Eagles defensively, trying to save some time on the other side of the clock. 2nd down and goal. Bradshaw. Can he get in? Yes, he can. Touchdown, Giants. Right behind the center, Sean O'Hara, and through the middle for the score.
Sean O'Hara is just going to match up here and allow Ahmad Bradshaw to make the read. When you get a quick back like Bradshaw back there, sometimes you're better off giving the ball away from the line of scrimmage to give him a chance to get up in there and make some moves as he sees fit. And there, right there, I see a lot more in the league now. We're seeing smaller backs get a chance in goal line and short yardage because of their maneuverability.
Extra point is good. I'm a little surprised they didn't stop it for a booth review. I'm wondering if he got in. Too late now. It's a touchdown. 24-17, Philadelphia. Bradshaw just getting into the end zone. Ball above the goal line as he scores to make it a 7-point game. The last time these two teams faced each other, Philadelphia led 30-7 at the half.
I tell you, I think Tom Coughlin's move of benching longtime starters around here has gotten the attention of the New York Giants. We saw them last week. They were down 14-0 in that ball game, came back and won. They had every reason to sort of give up in this one, down 14-0, the punt return, and yet they keep hanging in there. They keep making plays, and this is what they did sort of back in 2007 when they won the championship.
Keep in mind, as we said at the beginning tonight, if the Giants win, 3 teams in the NFC East would have the same record, but the Giants would win all of the tiebreakers, so they control their own fate. As does Philadelphia, if they win, because they'd be a game in front of the Dallas Cowboys. And out of bounds at the 30-yard line goes Macho Harris on the run back. Philadelphia struck early. Selleck into the end zone on a screen. Then Jacobs with the fumble, and Brown ran it in for a 60-yard touchdown. Next, with that 68-yard reception on that crazy drive where he dropped a couple of passes, Jackson the 72-yard punt return. And the Giants and the Eagles with 41 total points in the first half. And McNabb leading the Eagles to the 30-yard line, first down. Andrew talking about Macklin, the wide out for Philadelphia. Foot injury, came in with a foot injury, exacerbated it. Return is doubtful. From the 30, McNabb on first down, throwing, and that is caught. And Brown slips out of a tackle, and he picks up a first down. Corey Webster couldn't drop him, and the ball is up at the 42, first down. The Eagles with 2 timeouts.
They go into that amoeba defense now where they sort of stand everybody up and wander around defensively, so you can't really get a feel. And now they're going to go back to a little more traditional set with the 4-down linemen.
As you see, the Eagles potent offensively late in the half and throwing into traffic and incomplete, intended for Selleck. Second down with 49 seconds.
I tell you, this has been an interesting move by the New York Giants. They've come in with their 2, I don't know, better pass-playing linebackers here tonight, Michael Boley and Brian Keel. Brian Keel not getting a lot of playing time, but they felt like they matched up better in that way. Took C.C. Brown out of that linebacker position, put another linebacker in to help against the run, and they played well so far tonight.
Yeah, Brown good against the run, weak against the pass. Second down and 10 at the 42-yard line. Blitz coming, and Umenyiora gets there, and it's almost an interception for Boley. Oshie came around the end and got to McNabb and jostled him, and the pass was incomplete.
Osi Umenyiora, who was just benched a week ago, is going to make the play that really could have tied this football game up. Quick move around Peters. Here it goes, and Boley just drops the football. He was going to score on this one. Wow.
3rd and 10. And a whistle to stop it. And the Giants are going to take a timeout.
Timeout, New York. Team second. 30-second timeout.
3rd down and 10 upcoming with 44 seconds. Here's the play. Here's the play before. The ball was at the 42-yard line. And the pass is incomplete, and somehow they put the ball back at the 32-yard line. And nobody's noticed.
They must have called it a fumble.
Yeah,
There's a forward fumble,
right.
so they put it back to the spot of the forward fumble.
That has to be the answer. And here's McNabb throwing deep downfield, and getting free is Jackson on the sideline, and he's out of bounds inside the 25-yard line. They'll spot it at the 23.
Well, Donovan McNabb, his ability to buy extra time is really what's going to make this one. Corner route right up there. But Donovan McNabb's ability to step up and make this play is what forced them out of the base coverage. Kevin Dockery was trying to drop back with him. But these two safeties, Michael Johnson and Aaron Rouse, certainly are not known for their speed, and he didn't even get close to getting there.
We just checked it out. There was not a forward
Previous
fumble.
play is going to be reviewed.
Well, they're going to review this play, but let's go back to what we said first. When the ball was at the 32, it wasn't ruled a fumble. It was ruled an incomplete pass. It should have been at the 42. A lot of stuff going on. Official review of the last play. All right, back to the review now of the last catch by Deshaun Jackson along the sideline. See if he gets both feet in with possession.
I think so. I think possession was immediate. He got 2 feet down. The third one was a bonus foot, and that was out of bounds. That looks like a clean catch.
Right.
1, 2.
Yep.
And that is the old toe heel. So if that toe had hit and then the heel had been out of bounds, it would have been out of bounds despite the fact that the toe hit down first.
After reviewing the play has been confirmed with possession, 2 feet inbounds. Play stands as called. 1st and 10, Philadelphia.
Deshaun Jackson making the plays.
Let's go back to the prior play too. We're being told that the official ruled it a forward fumble.
Yes, the beanbag came in.
Right.
Now, nobody picks up the ball.
It's a live ball there. You see, that's what was so confusing about this.
But they ended up blowing the play dead. You can see the official on the outside waving his arm.
So they were saying, yeah, well, we're getting.
So the whistle blew. They mark it back to the spot of the fumble, so it ended up being right.
We got both ends against the middle there. McNabb goes to the end zone, and it's incomplete. Intended for Jason Avant.
It was a little bit like that play we had in Pittsburgh. Remember that one? The Ravens were down there, and it was the forward fumble, and they ended up should have marking it back for the longer field goal at the end of the game. Inside of 2 minutes, all those rules apply.
So if it was a forward fumble, the Giants could have picked it up.
That ball was sitting there live. The problem was the line judge saw it as an incomplete pass, blew the play dead, so then they had to mark it at the spot of the fumble. No possession by either team.
2nd down and 10. The ball is at the 24-yard line. And McNabb has that one batted and incomplete, and that's Justin Tuck. 3rd and 10. Well, take a look at this. If indeed, and they're telling us that that's how it was ruled on the field, a forward fumble, even though the official comes in and and you'll see him waving as if it's an incomplete pass. Boley drops it. Ball is alive.
If there was a shot of the line judge coming in waving his hands, so once he blew the play dead, I guess they just marked it down right there. Maybe nobody ever did pick it up.
Yep. 3rd and 10. McNabb dancing in the pocket. Over the middle. Selleck. And Selleck gets down to the 1-yard line with 17 seconds. And Philadelphia takes a timeout. Bad thumb and all. Selleck tonight with 4 catches for 60 yards and a touchdown earlier.
Back to that amoeba defense here, and that time Michael Boley tried to drop back into the safety position. They've got defensive lineman Mathias Kiwanuka back trying to play that zone. You know, it's great every once in a while to try and throw a different look at him, but the Philadelphia Eagles had seen that thing on defense, on film, and they thought that they had a couple of tendencies, and when you're trying to drop linebackers into the safety position and defensive ends into the linebacker position, sometimes veteran quarterbacks say thank you.
McNabb out, and Vick comes in on 1st and goal from the 1. Eagles recently doing a lot more running in the red zone. And they're way into the red zone here. Vick looking to run it in. And he gets in for the touchdown. Todd Harriman swung to the outside, the left guard, and puts it into the end zone. And so Vick now with his 2nd rushing touchdown in 2 weeks, and Philadelphia trying to make it a 14-point game again. David Akers, and that kick is blocked with 10 seconds remaining in the half. So the Eagle lead at 13 at 30-17.
Leonard Weaver, who played so well a week ago, check out the block he's going to make right here to set the edge. He doesn't care if he runs it. His blocking, catches the ball. The Giants were trying to say that Todd Harriman's had a block in the back there on the outside, but the officials weren't buying it. Big 79 coming there. They wanted the block in the back on that one right there. Official said no.
Fred Robbins with the block here. He blocked an extra point in the first meeting, and he does it again. And that's the only reason that Philadelphia is held to 30. Same totally ran up against the Giants 6 weeks ago in the first half.
Didn't the Giants have to take a timeout in the middle of that drive too? That sort of, you know, this is just crazy. There's like so many things happening in this game, and boy, I remember, I must be really old. I can remember back when this was a defensive struggle between these two teams.
David Akers to kick off here. And we'll see if Hickson can work some magic. Akers will try not to let him, but he's going to roll it all the way down to the 13-yard line. And Hickson will bring it back out to the 34-yard line, and the ball is loose.
And I heard the whistle, and I was looking at the clock, and it did expire.
Yep, the clock, right. It's gone. It's too late. The clock starts the minute that the receiver.
Fumble recovered by Philadelphia. However, time expired in the half.
Right.
The half is over.
There it is. There's the clock. Starts when Hickson touches it. And by the time the Eagles wind up with it, well, it appears.
Wow, and contact.
Oh, boy.
Boy. Interesting.
Moses Foku comes up with it. That is not a reviewable play. Back 2 now as we start the third quarter. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Andrea Kramer. The Meadowlands Giants Stadium. Only a couple of more games to be played here. Giants actually hope 1 or 2 more than they might have thought a couple of weeks ago. I'm talking about the playoffs. Giants get the ball as we start the third quarter. Nixon, who fumbled on the return at the end of the first half, but time had expired, brings the ball out to the 26-yard line. Back to that play where the ball was spotted at the 32, when originally the 42 was the line of scrimmage. This is ruled by the referee, John Parry, who's standing back at the 24-yard line here, a forward fumble. Umanura will actually at this point get credit for a 10-yard sack, but the linesman comes in and signals incomplete pass. Another official signaled a tipped ball, and any of the Giants could have actually picked that ball up, but they didn't. Ball just stayed on the turf. It was the end of the play because the whistle had sounded, and the Philadelphia Eagles were able to maintain possession as Steve Smith makes the catch up at the 30-yard line, and we check in with Andrea.
Well, and I asked Tom Coughlin about that play at halftime. He said that he was told by one of the officials that it was not reviewable, but that he had taken the timeout hoping that they were going to be able to do so. Now, for the Giants on the injury situation, tackle Kareem McKenzie is out for the rest of the game. As for Andy Reid, he said we have to continue to be super aggressive in the second half.
And they were aggressive on both sides of the ball in the first half. 2 big plays. Second down and 5. Here's Jacobs over the left side and pulls his way for a first down up to the 40-yard line. Gokong and Michael converge on the stop.
You know, that play, to go back to the fumble one more time here, it was the old Ed Hockley play. Remember that last year between Denver and San Diego? So they could have played through the whistle there. Even if the whistle had blown, the Giants could have recovered that ball, but they could not have advanced it because of the whistle. So the best they could have done was with the ball right where it was. But because nobody picked it up and play stopped, the play's over at that point.
And it looked for all the world like an incomplete pass, and the interception dropped by Boley, 1st and 10. And Manning throws to the outside, and that's caught by Boss. And Boss with a great stiff arm, and then moves the ball to the 37-yard line before he loses his footing, pushes Sean Jones out of a tackle.
Boy, something was really messed up there. Asante Samuel, because the tight end Boss was out there. Oh, I saw what it was. He tried to jump that route underneath. Now you know why he has 7 interceptions. And he left his safety hanging back for a stiff arm right in his throat.
Manning 12 of 20 for 196. Over the right side goes Jacobs. That's a right side with McKenzie out and Beatty taking his spot. And meanwhile, we talked about Smith chasing Amani Toomer, and with 83 receptions this season and 3.5 games to go, he's now the Giants' all-time leader in single-season catches.
Remember the beginning of the season, who was going to step up for Plexico Burress, and they didn't have receivers. Well, Steve Smith answered the call.
2nd and 7. Great protection. Manning throws to the outside.
Wow.
And making a great catch is Nix. Along the sideline of the 15-yard line, Asante Samuel covering on the play, 1st down.
Well, I told him his hands were strong. Asante Samuel had it right in his hands, and it was stolen. And Eli is smoking hot. They're making a substitution. He thinks he needs to run a quick play so they don't review it.
Right, that's exactly what he wants to do, and it's too late. Try to get up to the line, and he's mad that the Giants didn't get a playoff. Didn't want them to substitute, and he's saying, come on, let me go with the same guys. We'll run a play because I know they're going to challenge this. Yeah. And that's exactly what happened.
Philadelphia's challenge in the previous play, completed catch versus incomplete. We'll review the play.
Reid with the challenge. John Parry's taking a look at this. Does he have control is the question. Both feet he did get in.
After reviewing the play has been confirmed as a completed catch. 2 feet inbounds with possession. Philadelphia is charged with their first team timeout.
Ball is moving a little bit, but you can control it with one hand.
Right, and I think that's what happened. From that angle, it's going to look like this. It kind of comes off of his hands for a second. But from this angle, it looks like he controlled it in one hand and then the other hand, and we're going to give him the catch.
So it cost the Eagles a timeout, and it's a first down for the Giants at the Philly 14. Caught at the 10-yard line. Smith, Joselio Hansen making the tackle, and for Steve Smith tonight, that's a half dozen catches for 64 yards.
You can hear Eli down there screaming out, "Who's the Mike?" And what that means is that's who the offensive linemen are responsible for. That's the 5th guy. So they have the 4 down linemen, and then whoever he calls is the Mike. The offensive linemen have that guy as well. That time he switched it from one linebacker to the other. That's why he made that audible.
Eagles have been changing the mic all year. Everybody's played middle linebacker. Jacobs for a first down, into the 2-yard line goes Brandon Jacobs, setting up a 1st and goal.
Well, when all else fails, go to the power. Here's Soibert going to come around and lead up. And Brandon Jacobs, after contact, makes about 10 yards. This is the best I've seen Brandon Jacobs this season. He's running over people. He knows it's a championship game, and he really came out here to play.
From the 2. Jacobs gets it to the 1-yard line.
You know, the one thing that you cannot expect Brandon Jacobs to do is run over defensive linemen. And I think sometimes when you get in goal line and short yardage situations, when you get a bigger guy, he's not going to run over a defensive tackle. You know, so sometimes Bradshaw and the smaller guys are actually the better choice, or at least the choice that I prefer from watching tape.
2nd and goal. Hedgecock the fullback, Jacobs the tailback. Off the play fake, Booth is an eligible receiver, and they go to him, number 77, the tackle, who comes in as an eligible receiver, and they announce that at the end of the line, and Sean Jones was there with the coverage. 3rd and goal.
A really nice job here by the Philadelphia Eagles, understanding here that the offensive lineman, Kevin Booth, was an eligible receiver. Sean Jones not fooled at all on that play. And I think that's a better 1st down call than it is 2nd down, because now you're already thinking a little bit about the pass.
3rd and goal. Jacobs. And he cannot get to the goal line. Jeremiah Trotter comes over to make the tackle. 4th down.
You see Brandon Jacobs just run into his own guy here. Got to wonder if a smaller guy maybe finds a little crack in there. Just harder for those bigger guys to make that cut.
4th and goal. No hesitation from Coughlin. Again, a tight set. Jacobs again. In for the touchdown. Follows the fullback Madison Hedgecock, and in for 6.
Well, when all else fails, go to your son-in-law. Tristan, he's going to get 1 and then get 2 back here. The difference in the play, got off the ball quickly, picked up the next guy, Jeremiah Trotter, just enough for the touchdown.
Lawrence Tynes. I like that. Go to your son-in-law, huh? 30-24, Philadelphia. Good game. Tom Coughlin and his son-in-law, Chris Snee, leading the way along with Hedgecott for Jacobs' touchdown. It's a 6-point game. And the kick is fielded and juggled. And Macho Harris takes it back out to the 24-yard line with 9:13 remaining in the third quarter. And the Eagles in the battle for first, up by 6.
The NFL stars are out and shining bright. It's the Eagles and Giants, a backyard fight. Sunday Night Football is now.
The significance of this game, each of these teams controlling its own fate. If the Giants win, you have 3 teams at 8-5. And if you tuned in late, we talked about the tie-breaking scenario. The Giants would own all of them, so they'd be in first place through the tie-breaking procedure. Philly wins, they're in first place alone. So it is the battle for first right now. The 24-yard line, first down. Eagles, their first possession of this half. And it's McCoy breaking to the outside and taking it up to the 30-yard line.
Boy, I tell you, the Giants have just had a hole in their defense on their defensive right side all season long. Osi Umenyiora got benched. Here's Kiwanuka in. He misses the tackle. And that has really been their Achilles heel. They've tried to change things up. They benched Fred Robbins as well, put in Chris Canty, but runs to that side have really hurt the Giants this year.
Second down and 4. And it's intercepted at the 34-yard line. Picked off by Jonathan Goff. One of the changes the Giants made defensively last week, and Goff with a huge dividend.
Jonathan Goff got his first chance to start a week ago and pays big dividends here. Brent Selleck went down and turned around. He tried to chip early, turned around and was going to peel back out, and he threw it right to Jonathan Goff. One of the smartest guys in the NFL, a mechanical engineer out of Vanderbilt, and that looked easy. Here's Selleck. He's going to stop and start to wheel out of it. Donovan didn't anticipate that and threw the pick.
First career start last week. Antonio Pierce on injured reserve. Goff, the starter, sets the Giants up at the Eagle 29-yard line. Manning escapes. He'll run for a first down and goes down and then loses the ball. He was falling forward. And was he touched when he fell forward? If you slide to a stop, they can't hit you. But if you dive head first, they can hit you. And it's a loose ball, and it's the Eagles' ball. And Sean Jones comes up with it.
Interesting. He was touched as he was starting to go down.
Well, Coughlin's already reaching for his flag.
And so I think you can make the argument that that's what took him to the ground, and if so, it would be down by contact.
Yes, it would be.
Therefore, he's not down by contact. First and 10, Philadelphia.
That's the original ruling. The question is, does Coughlin want a challenge? Yep. Tom Coughlin is challenged. This is as tough a decision as I can ever recall. And I'll tell you why. Forget the slide at the end of the play. We know he or the dive. The question is, when he gets contacted there, did that cause Manning to go to the ground? He takes a couple of steps after Broderick Bunkley gets the back of his jersey. He's still on his feet. Okay, there's the tug. He takes a couple of steps. Now, did that cause Manning to go down? There he is, still upright. Now he wants to slide, but he goes forward, head first. So it's a live ball. And now John Parry has to go under the hood, and that's the whole determinant right here. Did that cause Manning to go to the ground?
Well, and did it throw him off balance? Remember, it's a wet field.
Right.
So this second step after this tug of the jersey, not that one, but this one, he's going to be slightly off balance. But it looked to me like he kind of slid to the ground.
Right.
Although it's hard to say what happened there. I mean, it's just and usually, you know, the ruling this year, they've kind of changed it, unless it is fairly simple to say, yes, we should overturn it. they're going to leave it as is, and that's tough.
Yeah, and the whole thing is, I mean, Parry's got to look at whether, in his mind, this caused Manning to go down. Clearly, it throws him off balance, but he takes a couple of more steps, and then he finally goes down.
It's really close. I think if I'm under the hood, I have to say that this ends up a fumble. Because to me, it looked like he was going down because of the defender coming in to try and hit him there, Sean Jones. But that is close. I wouldn't be surprised with either call here.
John Parry with the verdict.
After reviewing the play has been confirmed. It will stay a fumble recovered by Philadelphia. Although the quarterback was contacted, he continued to run and then went down on his own. Therefore, 1st and 10, Philadelphia.
So even though he was off balance, as we say, that was the whole essence of the play. And John Parry, and I agree with you, Chris, in the sense that it's one of those things where the ruling on the field is too tough to overturn.
Yeah, I just don't see anything there that makes me believe that that tug knocked him down. I thought it was much more of his making a decision to get down because of Sean Jones.
So the Eagles have it after the Giants get the interception. Eagles create their own turnover, and the ball is at the 14-yard line, 1st down. McNabb stepping up. And Donovan, of course, as he gets older, does a lot less running and only runs in situations like that as he gets it out to the 20-yard line.
You know, one of the tough things about Donovan McNabb is he has such a great feel. I was talking to some of the Giants defenders this week, and they said it's absolutely amazing that he doesn't have to see you to know where you are. And that time, Matthias Kiwanuka was thinking strip fumble, and that Donovan picked the right time to get down.
And Kiwanuka was telling us he looks a lot easier to get to on film than on the field.
Guy bench presses 450 pounds. How do you get him on the ground?
Unbelievable.
Uh-oh.
And that's McCoy taken down by Justin Tuck. It'll be 3rd down and 3.
You know, you hit on it in the beginning of the game, but Tom Coughlin was telling us how much they needed Justin Tuck to have a big game. He has so many ailments, shoulder, foot, ankle, but they really need him to step up with one of his A games here.
He can thank Flozell Adams for a few of those miseries. 3rd and 4.
4 defensive ends in the game.
McNabb going deep, has a man and overshoots him. Reggie Brown. Reggie Brown had beaten the coverage out in front, couldn't get there. 4th down.
I've never seen so many blown coverages in one game ever. Here it's Bruce Johnson on the outside, starts down inside. He tries to turn the thing over to Aaron Rouse, and Aaron Rouse is in no position to try and cover a wideout. And for McNabb, that's as wide open as you get in this league. That one you have to hit.
And Brown playing a lot more than he normally would because Macklin is hurt. Block is kicked. Hickson at the 29. Gets banged down at the 40-yard line. 6.5 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter. Philadelphia 30 and the Giants 24.
Hi there.
Giants have the ball. Here is Jacobs, and there's a flag. We haven't had very many tonight. In fact, there have been 2 against Philadelphia, 3 against
Holding.
the Giants.
Number 69, offense, 10-yard penalty, replay, 1st down.
Rich Seubert.
Well, Donovan McNabb made a great read on this play. You're going to see a linebacker here, a linebacker here. They try and fake a blitz, but this linebacker comes out. So when they go slant and go, it forces a safety right there. Aaron Rouse to try and cover a wideout all the way down the field. McNabb saw that they didn't blitz and just missed the throw.
1st and 20 now. Dump it to Bradshaw. Has some blocking. But the Eagles converge. Tackle him up at the 39-yard line. Mike Patterson is there.
It's always kind of fun to watch on these screen passes. You'll see David Deal take an outside set to try and force Trent Cole inside, thinking he's got an easy path, but if it's that easy, you better have your eyes open because they're giving you that for a reason.
Invite him in. 2nd down and 12. Blitz coming. Manning saw it. Hits Hickson. Breaking tackles inside the 20. Dominic Hickson to the end zone. 61 yards. Bad tackling by the Eagles. And the Giants can take the lead with an extra point.
Party time. I'll tell you who they should pick up, Ahmad Bradshaw. What a block he threw in there on that blitz.
And there's McNabb thinking about the pass to Brown that he couldn't connect on. The Giants answer. The difference right now in the game is that blocked extra point by Robbins. And that truly is the difference in the game. After Tynes makes it 31-30. It's been a long uphill battle for the Giants, who fell behind 14-0 in the first 6 minutes of the game. But here they are on top with 5:12 to go in the third.
The Eagles brought the house on that one, and Ahmad Bradshaw had to make the play. They're coming here, they're coming here, and if Ahmad Bradshaw doesn't step up and make this block, Eli's going to take one right in the chops. Absolutely perfectly picked up, and it was a good read on the outside as well by Hickson to understand that it was Sheldon Brown sitting on the outside, so he kind of sat that thing down, didn't run into the contact. You see the corner on the outside sitting and waiting for that out cut. He sat it down and then made a beautiful run.
And Witherspoon, the first to miss him, and you can see what Witherspoon was trying to do. He was trying to get the ball out of his grasp.
Yeah, that works well when you do it the second time, when somebody else has him held up, not the first time. But for Dominic Hickson, this has been a wild game. Fumbles and kickoffs and let him go down the sideline on a punt return, but he is made up for it. This is unbelievable. This is one of the best games I've ever seen.
And think about the fact that the score is 31-30. You know, we're thinking about it's cold, it's going to be wet, it's going to be windy, it's going to be miserable. It's the Giants and the Eagles. It'll wind up 10-7, huh?
It's fun, is what it is.
Yeah. Heck of a game. From the 10-yard line. And Harris running it back out to the 40-yard line. And in microcosm, Chris, you know, this is kind of what the NFL is. I mean, the Giants look like they're dead about 8 days ago. In Philadelphia, they're talking people off the ledge when they lose 2 games to Dallas and San Diego. Here we are.
Here we are, and I really don't think you can give Tom Coughlin too much credit. The hardest thing in the world to do as a coach is to bench veteran football players. And when he did that, the heart of this Giants team came back. We're seeing it the way they're running the ball. Remember, defensively, 2 of those touchdowns were punt returns and fumble returns. They weren't on this defense.
First down at the 40. Great protection. And McNabb's going to go deep again and has a man. And it's Jackson who will backpedal into the end zone for a 60-yard touchdown. This is like a street game.
Unbelievable.
Again, Deshaun Jackson. 2 long touchdowns tonight. 1 on a punt return. 1 on a pass reception. 8 touchdowns this year. 50 or more yards. And Coughlin can only bark. And that's major barking right there. Akers to the point after. And he gets spun around and draws the flag. And that's Terrell Thomas who came in on the extra point. And he'll get the flag.
Running into the kicker. 5-yard penalty will be assessed on the ensuing kickoff.
Eagles strike right back and lead 37-31.
Michael Johnson right here is going to react to this tight end coming up. And because of all the time, it allows Jackson to come all the way across the face of Aaron Ross. Remember, Aaron Ross is playing safety, but he is a cornerback by trade. They just put him back there because of all the injuries in the secondary. Almost caught up to that one, but Deshaun Jackson, it is hard to catch up to that young man. You can see no safety at all on that side of the field. Ross tried to cover it, but it was really all about the protection. You can't run that route unless you get this much time. That was at least 5 seconds, and nobody laid a finger on him. We talked about some of the changes up front. Chris Canty, a big game last week. Tonight, he's been a non-factor. Whatever this clock stops on, it could have kept going. 4.2, but he could have waited there for 6 seconds. But when you keep shuffling your secondary the way that they have, you're going to have mistakes in the back end like that.
68 points and 20 minutes to play. Maybe more. Hickson, 2 yards deep. Breaks a tackle again. And takes it out to the 30-yard line. Jackson, big play, Deshaun Jackson. 2 punt returns, 85 and 72. A 67-yard rush. And then those receptions.
You know you've had a big year when you have to make the numbers smaller on the bottom. Right. They could have put mine in bold-face print for my career. They're having to squeeze the size of the numbers down.
When you get that agatype, that's big. And Jackson coming off that concussion, suffered against Washington 2 weeks ago and missing the game last week in Atlanta. First down, 29-yard line. And that's caught. Hicks. And Hicks going the wrong way. Pulled a mini Jim Marshall.
What the heck? He made a great play. He read the hot read, turned around, and then started running back towards Eli. My goodness.
Coughlin looking at him. You're supposed to run north-south, not south-north.
You know, you put the young guys in there, you give them a chance, and we were talking to Andy Reid about his young receivers. He said they're going 100 miles an hour. You just don't know where they're going all the time. And we've seen some great plays out of Nix tonight, and we've seen some strange stuff, too.
2nd and 6. And Jacobs gets bounced back. Trotter and Michael.
That graphic before, did it say that the Giants have 420 yards, something like that, and they're getting beat?
Well, the Giants now have, after no game there, 418 yards of total offense.
And losing in the third quarter.
In the third quarter. Which we're going to have to play in it.
They have a chance to go over 600 and get beat. I wonder how many times that's happened in the NFL.
Well, Dallas had 4 and change against the Giants last week and got beat. 3rd and 6. And Manning. And they will sack him at the 27-yard line.
I'll tell you one thing. Sean McDermott's not going to stop blitzing just because you score a bunch of points against them. They brought the slot blitz that time and finally got there on Eli. Just nobody open. He should have come back the other way. The receiver from the blitz side, which he obviously did not see, is the guy that you want to go to. But the Eagles did a pretty good job covering him up.
Hanson and Parker right on the sack. Here's Jackson. Give it to me. He's ready. Will Fiegels give it to him? It's a line drive kick, and he fields at the 32, and here he goes again. And Jackson with a flag thrown at the end of the play. Gets to the Giant 48-yard line when it looked like he might bust another one.
They are lucky. That was a low line drive kick. And that is not one you want to give to Sean
During
Jackson.
the return, holding. Number 81 of the return team. 10-yard penalty. First down.
It's Jason Avant. Giants tonight started early. The mistakes they made, you saw Jacobs fumble. Sheldon Brown picked that one up and ran it in. And Thomas pushing the gunner out of bounds. And that was a personal foul. And then you had this, which was ruled a forward fumble. And the Giants could have, as it turned out, pick it up. And then Manning couldn't slide, dove. That was a fumble. And the Giants trying to overcome all of these mistakes and beat the Eagles. 37-31 Philadelphia with 2:45 to go in the third.
It's amazing. Clint sent him on that one fumble that was ruled a fumble anyway. It looked like a pass. He actually bent over to pick up the ball and then didn't.
Yep.
All he had to do was just pick it up and they would have had the football.
Well, for all the world, it looked like an incomplete pass.
Yeah, no, I hear you. So close.
Ball at the 33-yard line, first down. And stopped in his tracks is Weaver. And that is Matthias Kiwanuka.
That's a little better. You put this guy with his speed on the move, and then he'll make some plays. Check out this stunt inside. He goes all the way inside and back out. He says, hello, Mr. Weaver.
Second down and 13.
4 defensive ends back in for the pass rush.
McNabb rolling and throwing. A gain up to the 36-yard line as Deshaun Jackson makes the catch.
I tell you, I think I would begin to take a few more shots at these safeties. When you give up big plays like they did the last time, the tendency, especially for a guy that's not used to playing safety like Aaron Ross, is, well, I'm just going to be careful. I'm going to back up, not give up the big play. A lot of times you can get throws underneath them at this point in the game.
3rd and 7 from the 36. McNabb going Jackson's way again, and this time it's out of bounds and incomplete. Bruce Johnson with good coverage that time. 4th down.
You know, typically when they play that split safety defense, you want to work the middle of the field, and for whatever reason, Donovan decided to take another shot. Well, why not? He's got to start 7 points. Maybe he just thought everything I throw up is going to work tonight. But really, the throw there was down the middle.
End of the play. Jackson tried to draw a foul here. Rouse must have said something. And then he does a pretty good acting job going down, but there was no flag. Sav rocket a punt. Dixon at the 18-yard line. Back up to the 25-yard line. 1:16 to play in the third. Talked about it earlier. Andy Reid, a 3-year extension, 11th year, had 1 more year in the contract. So he's in the fold at least through 2013. And second to Jeff Fisher in terms of tenure with one team. You know, it's real simple. With Reid and McNabb, it comes down to, can they win the Lombardi Trophy at some point? If you're an Eagle fan, and they know it all too well, you know what the decade's been like? It's like going to a movie, and the movie's really good, but the ending always stinks. Just once, the Eagles fans say, let's have a great ending.
So they can't just enjoy the popcorn and the show along the way. They've got to have a good ending, too.
Well, they throw up on the way out, that's all. First down from the 25-yard line. Bradshaw. Meanwhile, Reid has put himself in a position to have some pretty exalted company alongside coaches doing 100 in a decade. Landry and Shula did it before they were playing 16 games in a season. That was really something in the 70s. And then in this decade, Bill Belichick, 110, Tony Dungy left a few on the table because he could have coached this year with 104, and Andy Reid on that list.
No slouches on that list, is there?
No.
And Donovan McNabb's the first to tell you, he says, we need a Super Bowl to validate what we've done together. They've been together the whole time.
No doubt. Said Glenn Stefani. 2nd and 11. Bradshaw. And he can't go anywhere, and that's Jeremiah Trotter making the tackle. And that should take us to the end of the 3rd quarter.
Well, it's been a little dull, but we hope things will pick up here in the 4th quarter, so hang with us the best you can.
Try to get it going.
Tom Coughlin's going, what the heck is going on around here?
15 minutes left in regulation. End of 3. It's Philadelphia 37 and the New York Giants 31. And Sunday Night Football resumes after these messages from your local NBC station. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Andrea Kramer. What a game. 4th quarter, 37-31 Philadelphia. 3rd down and 10. As the Giants start the 4th quarter from the 25-yard line. 4-man rush, 7 back. Pass goes to Boss. Gets the first down on a gain of 11. And the flag comes in at the end of the play. Late hit. On a 3rd down and long, Quentin Michael hit him after he went out of bounds.
After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, played in out of bounds. Number 27 defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic, 1st down.
Evan Bosch right here, and they drop out in a zone trying to protect against Steve Smith. They knew that he was the man in the slot. Eli made a great read that time and just dumped it out to Boss. Late hit out of bounds by Quentin Michael.
3rd penalty on him tonight. For illegal contact. Now the personal foul. The ball is at the 48 of the Eagles. And this time it's Madison Hitchcock. Chris Gokon takes him out of bounds, and the Giants say we want another flag. Not this time.
I like the play call there by Kevin Gilbride. You could just see the Eagles coming down with that safety down, thinking run all the way, that run formation. They go play action and dump it to the fullback.
Only Hitchcock's 4th reception of the season. Manning with 310 yards. Donovan with the 2 TDs and 1 pick. Only the 2nd interception he's thrown facing the Giants in the last 10 meetings. 2nd and 5. Fake to Bradshaw. And then Manning throws. And Boss dives but can't make the catch at the 17-yard line. 3rd and 5.
I'll tell you what, this is some throw right here by Eli Manning. Completely off balance. And he's just going to make a move to his right and lob it up, and it is perfect. Oof. That's a perfect throw. You cannot do it any better than that. That's just the play you need to make. Heard Sean McDermott tell us, he says, you know, every once in a while you put on the tape and Eli has one of those games where everything he throws works. That one should have worked.
3rd and 5. On the ground. And Bradshaw will go nowhere. So they try to trick him on a run on an inside handoff to the consternation of this crowd. Trent Cole stops him, and the Giants are forced to punt.
Trent Cole saw this one all the way. I thought that one of the pullers might have gotten him here, but they didn't. They came around, and you could see Chris Snee sort of indecisively there, deciding to go upfield instead of just go ahead and kicking him out. If he had, I think they may have picked up that 1st down.
Now Fiegels floats one, and this time Jackson will have to call for a fair catch and makes it at the 9-yard line. Early 4th quarter. Eagles by 6 at the Meadowlands. Elroy Crazy Legs Hirsch back in 1951. 8 touchdowns of 50 or more yards. Devin Hester did it for the Bears in 07, and Deshaun Jackson has tied that mark tonight with 2 spectacular plays, Chris.
He's been this spectacular all season long, though. On the punt return, setting him up, breaking down the sideline, then watching himself on the big screen. It's a good show, and he even enjoyed watching it. And then the speed going all the way across the face of Aaron Ross. So hard to catch up when you miss a coverage like that. He has really been something.
Here's McCoy now to the short side of the field. Giants knock him down at the 12-yard line. So for Jackson, again coming back after missing last week's game with a concussion, 158 receiving yards, 83 return, 241 total, and a pair of touchdowns.
And he's really devoted and dedicated this entire season to his father, Bill Jackson, who passed away from pancreatic cancer about 6 months ago, was his harshest critic. It gives him full credit for being here. He said he was tough, but it was deserved, and loved him.
And there's McNabb. Great ability to extend the play, get out of the pocket, go against the grain, rolling to his left, and he hits Jackson for 20 yards.
Well, you talk about the fact that these safeties have been burned before back here in the back end. So you've got to go run off with the guys as they come towards you, and then you bring the speedster across the field. And as a safety, what do? There's nothing you can do there. You've got to play your guy. And right now, because of the protection this Eagles offensive line is affording Donovan McNabb, they can do whatever they want.
From the 32, Jackson comes in motion. And then they give it to Weaver, trying to distract the Giant defense, and Jackson will distract you.
Oh, no question about it. But I will say this, that the run defense of the New York Giants has been better. You know, we saw them earlier in the season and just had a horrible day against the Dallas Cowboys. Last week, just 45 yards. But the changes that they've made, they have been better against the run. They just haven't gotten enough pressure.
2nd and 8. McNabb stumbles, but gets it to Weaver. And the former Seattle Seahawk has a first down up at the 45-yard line.
I really think that as this year goes along, you're going to see more and more that Leonard Weaver is the featured back. He made 2 catches last week that was as good as any I've seen in any game. A one-handed catch down the field. He was brilliant in blitz pickup, and he has been running the ball so well. I think they've been surprised at what they got out of Leonard Weaver.
250 pounds. And here he goes again to the right side with a hurdle move, but Justin Tuck is there to make the tackle. Weaver, when he came over from Seattle, where he was more of a conventional fullback, and Andy Reid said we knew when we got him, running the ball was the best thing he did, which was an odd thing to say about a fullback.
Yeah, but it's kind of the true West Coast fullback. You know, those guys, he's a former tight end. He has the ability to catch the ball out of the backfield, which, of course, Bill Walsh loved when he installed this offense.
Tom Rathman.
Yep.
2nd and 7 from the 47. McNabb checks down. McCoy makes the catch. And that'll move the chains again. And for the Eagles, a big drive here with a 6-point lead, trying to put the Giants down by 2 possessions and a first down at the 43-yard line.
I love veteran quarterbacks that can do this. This has got to be the 4th option on this play. Watch Donovan go all the way across the board. He's looking left, looking right, but he knew exactly where his outlet receiver was. Didn't even have to think about it. I'm not sure he ever even saw him. Flip that thing out there for a big first down.
Here's Vick in the game now, and McNabb splits wide left. So McNabb wide left, Jackson in the slot, McCoy in motion, and the ball is handed to McCoy, and then it's back to McNabb. And McNabb checks down underneath and winds up hitting Brent Selleck. So the Giants alert to the play as everybody handles it. And McNabb winds up with it, but has to check it down and settles for a short gain.
Watch this, Al. He wanted to go back to Mike Vick running the route. He's going to hand it off. Then Mike Vick's going to take back off the other way. He's delayed just a minute. Then he went out for the pass. The Giants had that defended, but McNabb was in control enough to just dump it down. Okay, it didn't work. We'll take 5 yards.
What time of night do you draw that play up?
Late.
2nd and 6 at the 39. And that's dropped into the arms of Weaver. And Weaver to the 31-yard line. And the Eagles, starting this drive at their own 9, have advanced 60 yards on 4 runs and 4 passes.
And the one thing about the Eagles screen game, and it's so good, but when you talk to the Giants defenders, they'll tell you that they never get their timing off, that the offensive linemen move the same time that the back moves and about the same time that Donovan looks that way. So if one of them leaves a little early, it tips it to the defensive lineman, but they work it so perfectly and they have it timed out so well. It's always been a big part of this offense.
8 minutes remaining. Fake to Jackson on the end around, and they pass it to McCoy, and he gets taken out of bounds by Boley.
The old ghost screen on that one. You bring Deshaun Jackson, who's been absolutely slaughtering you all night, around to fake the reverse. And they call that the ghost when he goes around there and you fake it to him like that and then just come back with the screen right back the other way.
Second down, 4. Up the middle comes the blitz, and it frees the middle for Brown. And Brown at the 15-yard line, and the Giants missing tackles all over the place. He's inside the 10, and then the ground takes him down, the wet turf at the 7-yard line. First and goal.
Well, first of all, you're going to get the double barrel blitz coming right in here, and then you're going to get the pick on the outside on the route. They understood that they were in man coverage. You saw Brent Selleck take it right up the field, pick off the defender for Reggie Brown, and come up with a big play. Giants got a little desperate there. They've been moving the football, but Donovan McNabb was ready.
Eagles now at the 6. Vick is back in. McNabb on the sideline with Mornhinweg. And Michael Vick over right guard, plunging forward, takes the ball to the 1-yard line. Second down and goal.
It's just power football. This is exactly what the Miami Dolphins do in their Wildcat offense. You know, it looks like something fancy, but it's really just power football coming over here with the pulling guard, and you lead up with the fullback, and that's all it is. It's you might as well have a tailback back there, and all you do is take the quarterback position out of it, flank that position out wide to create a little more space in there for Vick.
Weaver is the back on second and goal. Weaver. Touchdown. The Philadelphia Eagles go 91 yards, 7.5 minutes, and Andy Reid says go for 2.
Jason Peters has had a tough time this year staying healthy, but when he is, you can see what he can do. Coming out on Osi Umenyiora, who is trying to protect that outside gap. He's not wrong there. That's his gap responsibility. The inside protection just never did get there. Michael Boley couldn't get to his gap.
So the Eagles with a 12-point lead, trying to make it 14. Going for 2. And McNabb will throw, and that'll be caught. And getting into the end zone is Jason Avant for the conversion. So the Philadelphia Eagles, a 91-yard drive, perfect balance, 6 rushes, 6 passes, and up by 14 with 5:48 to go. New York, that's real time.
There are a few people around that tree. It is fun, though. It's a great city around Christmas time.
Eagles up by 14. Dixon looking for room. Can't find it. 25. Well, they tried this in the earlier Giant game. This time it works. Reed and Jackson, the bump and run.
He almost jumped over his head.
The Giants now down by 14 points. Start this drive from their own 25-yard line. 5:41. Eagles came across the line. This is a free play, and it's incomplete, but the Giants will pick up 5 yards on the penalty for the encroachment.
Offside. Defense. Number 94. 5-yard penalty. Replay. First down.
On that last Philadelphia drive, Chris, the Eagles never even had to run a third down play. Went 91 yards, 12 plays, no third down plays.
And really, the Giants had chances. They had 2 series back-to-back where they had a chance to take the lead. 3 plays and 6 plays and out.
804 yards total offense in the game tonight to this point. 1st and 5 from the 30. Blitz coming from the corner. They pick Quentin Michael up. And now Manning and Eli comes down at the 33-yard line. A couple of yards shy of the first down. Will Witherspoon with a tackle. And now they have to pick it up without a huddle.
And the Eagles not afraid to blitz even in these situations. They're coming after Eli.
Done for the whole decade through the Jim Johnson years. And Sean McDermott, no different in that regard. Running play, inside handoff to move the chains. Bradshaw up to the 39-yard line. First down, New York.
Yeah, you're sitting there, you're going, okay, well, they're going to blitz, so we'll try and pop a run against that. And that time they don't blitz and end up picking up a couple of yards, and the crowd grumbles.
From the 39. Eli. Can he escape? And it is Bradshaw who winds up with the ball into Eagle territory and finally forced out of bounds at the 30-yard line by Sean Jones.
I've seen Eli do this so many times. I think he did it last week in the game as well. Completely sacked. They got the double-barrel blitz coming right up the middle. He's dead. No way. Flip a 1-yard pass off to Ahmad Bradshaw, and you're going to pick up 50. Unbelievable.
Yep. Great move by Bradshaw there. And the Giants, after a 31-yard game, Jacobs is back in the game, first down. From the 31-yard line. And it's Jacobs. And Jacobs, look at that, pulling his way inside the 20 and did not get out of bounds. Clock still runs. Quay Parker finally makes the tackle.
Pretty good call that time. They had a blitz coming that side, throw a screen right into it, and Eli, rightly so, going right to the no huddle here.
Jacobs trying to get out of bounds, but his forward progress was stopped inbounds, so the clock keeps on rolling. Giants with 2 timeouts, and Manning's going to get sacked back at the 30-yard line. And this time it's Darren Howard coming in to get him to the turf.
What a move that time by Darren Howard. The spin move. Looked like Dwight Freeney on this one. Check this out. Chris Snee, one of the top guards in the game, just completely fans. Remember, Snee came in with a bit of a knee injury. May have one a little worse after trying to block that.
3rd and 8 from the 29-yard line. The screen, Bradshaw. And Bradshaw can get it only to the 25, and that's going to make it 4th down and 4. And obviously the Giants going for it here with 3:20 and ticking down. So the Giants trying to stay alive, have to get to the 21-yard line on 4th down.
And the hard part here, obviously, you don't want to waste the timeout. You got to make this call on the fly.
On 4th down, Eli throwing, and at the 18-yard line, it's hauled in by Manningham. So a critical first down as the clock ticks down to 2:50.
Great throw that time by Eli, and Mario Manningham, the guy that got benched coming into this game for Akeem Nicks, comes up with a huge play.
First catch of the night for him after he almost had a touchdown, but couldn't stay in bounds earlier. 2.5 to go. Bradshaw on the screen, and he's going to get taken down from behind, and a flag comes in. as the tackle is made at the 16-yard line.
Holding, number 60, offense, 10-yard penalty, first down.
That's the center, Sean O'Hara, who says, get out of here.
Yeah, well, offensive linemen, especially interior offensive linemen, are used to being able to sort of wrap their arms around the shoulders. But when you get out in space like a tackle, he's going to come over this way on the screen. You get out in space where the officials can see you, you wrap your arms around both shoulders like that, and you're going to get that called.
1st and 20. Manning to the end zone and out in front, and does he get in? Yes, touchdown from Manningham. Mario Manningham beating the coverage, getting behind the corner, 28 yards. Did he get his feet in? Did he get them in is the question. With possession.
No.
Ooh. Right foot down, left foot right on the edge.
I don't think so. I thought it, let's see it. I thought the toe was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Andy Reid can challenge, since we're still outside of 2 minutes.
How many plays have we seen with Mario
man.
Manningham this year?
Yep.
Just not being able to manipulate on that
Philadelphia's
sideline.
challenge the previous play, completed catch and a score versus incomplete. We'll review the play.
So John Parry will take a look. It will probably, as you look at it here, be overturned. Mario Manningham on the bench with the look of a guy who knows that this is going to get overturned. Not by much, but just enough, because the toe, as you can see, will come down on the white. Possession there, 1 foot in, and just by that much.
And Al, you have to give Manningham credit for getting open in a clutch situation and making a play, but he needs help. He needs an intervention on this route running. And Tom Coughlin, a former receiver in college, is probably going to be the one to give it to him.
The player with possession only got 1 foot inbounds. The second foot was in the white. Therefore, it's an incomplete pass. Philadelphia is not charged with the team timeout. However, that is their second challenge. Therefore, they have no challenges remaining. Second down.
No challenges remaining, but only 21 seconds before he could challenge anything anyway, because then you go to a booth review. And instead of a touchdown, it will now be 2nd down and 20 at the 28.
Watch Manningham. He's going to get right by Sheldon Brown, but he just continues to go to the outside. He's got him beat clearly, but you've got to try, and when a guy has that sort of technique, force him back to the inside so you have plenty of room to fade to the outside to make the catch. That should have been a no-brainer touchdown. It's a technique thing that he's been doing not only all night tonight, but also doing earlier this season as well. There are 2 touchdowns that should have been for Mario Manningham.
You know, Billy White Shoes Johnson might have gotten away with that.
Yeah, those Dorothy slippers didn't help there.
You're right. 2nd down and 20 from the 28-yard line. And Manning to the outside this time. And Manningham will make that catch. And it is Sheldon Brown. The clock is still running because this time, I mean, of all things, he's out of bounds twice, and then he can't get out of bounds.
And really, the Eagles bench, I think, got him to change that call, and it was done correctly.
Takes us to the 2-minute warning. So now he's making sure to stay inbounds, and instead of stopping the clock, we're down to 2 minutes to go in a 3rd and 11 when we come back. Two minutes remaining in the 4th quarter. It's 3rd down and 11 for New York at the Philadelphia 19-yard line. seen every emotion on McNabb's face tonight. Free play. Offside Philadelphia and incomplete, but the Giants get a free play here. Steve Smith, the intended receiver.
Well, I tell you, that was brilliant by Eli. Not only did he get him to show the blitz, got him off sides.
Defense number 58 in the neutral zone at the snap. 5-yard penalty. Replay. Third down.
Trent Cole jumping, and that makes it 3rd down and 6.
First hard count got him to show the blitz. Now you know it. Pretty good stuff by Eli.
3rd and 6. And Manning over the middle. And that will make it a 1st down and goal as Steve Smith corrals it at the 4-yard line. 7 catches for him tonight. Giants with 501 yards of total offense. And now make it 5:05 on the touchdown to Kevin Boss. So the Giants denied a touchdown on the challenge with Manningham out of bounds. Get one anyway, but it cost them some time, and there are 91 seconds to play.
They pay so much attention to Steve Smith coming in there off the slot. They completely leave Kevin Boss all by himself. Steve Smith in just outside there in the slot, and 2 guys jump him, and nobody jumps Kevin Boss.
Tynes with the extra point. Eli tying his career high for passing yards, 384. Same figure he rung up against Atlanta last month.
Got to go onside kick, I think.
Have
Here
to.
you have 2 timeouts left. It's conceivable you could kick it deep, but I think the percentage play here is onside.
Absolutely. You have to. Because your defense hasn't done, your defense can't stop them.
Right. You know, there is a possibility of some pooch kicks here, though. You get the hands team and you get 10 guys up around that 40-yard line. You could try and drop it in over their heads and hope for some wild scramble of a loose ball. Deshaun Jackson about back on the 30-yard line or so. There is some space.
And the Eagles with the other 10 guys, all between the 40 and the 46. And it's bounded to the right side, and then it takes one big hop and winds up going out of bounds.
Kickoff out of bounds, and the kicking team, the ball will be placed at the spot where it went out of bounds. 1st and 10, Philadelphia.
And you know, that's a rule change. In years past, that one would have been re-kicked for some weird reason. I never could figure that one out.
Yeah.
But they changed that rule, and so now you just get one shot, and the Eagles have the ball.
Yeah, you were kind of rewarded for attempting it and kicking it out of bounds, and then the committee got together and they said no way. So what the Giants need now is a reverse Joe Pisarcik.
Well, you do have the 2 timeouts, so conceivably you could get this ball back.
But they would take the reverse Pisarcik if they could get it.
Certainly would.
The ball is at the 44-yard line. 131. And they give the ball to McCoy, and the Giants will take an immediate timeout. As that play takes only 4 seconds, and of course we were talking about one of the great moments in Eagle history and one of the infamous moments in Giants history. The Giants trying to run the clock out, and then Herman Edwards winds up going to the end zone, and that propelled the Eagles to their first playoff appearance. At the end of that season, they wound up in postseason for the first time in 18 years. And the Giants were a horrible team at that point. And became even more horrible.
Yeah, you get bonus points, though, if you can name the fullback on that play. Larry Zonk.
Oh, yeah, right. 2nd and 9. The ball is at the 43. And McCoy, and the Giants will spend their final timeout as the Eagles will come up to the line next with a 3rd down and 9. Division standings, and the Eagles trying to move into undisputed possession of first place here, with Dallas losing earlier today at home against San Diego. And for the Eagles, they go home for the next 2 games against the 49ers in Denver, and then they'll end their season at Dallas. Cowboys go to New Orleans next week, then at Washington and Philadelphia, and the Giants go to Washington next week, Carolina here, and then to Minnesota for a game that very interesting in terms of, you know, where Minnesota is at that point.
Right. They may not play their starters in that one. They may have whatever they can get clinched at that point.
Right. 3rd and 9 from the 43. And they give it to McCoy, and McCoy can't bounce to the outside. So the Giant defense does its job, and the Eagles will punt and try to pin the Giants as deep as they can and take all of the time off the clock that they can, since the Giants can't stop it.
Well, 30-plus seconds, something like that, will be on the clock here after this punt. Interesting, they obviously chose to keep that clock running with a run play and not put the ball in Donovan McNabb's hands, which is the right play, except maybe on a night like this where there have been points scored all over the place.
McNabb will let the clock run all the way down. I mean, they can either take a timeout, or even a penalty doesn't hurt them very much at this point with a punt from the plus side of the field. And they choose to take the timeout.
30-second timeout.
And if you ever have a punt block in the book, this is the time to use it.
Yep.
122 plays tonight. You've got 880 yards of offense. 7.2 average for each team per play.
And really the difference in the game has been the punt return and the fumble recovery return for a touchdown by Sheldon Brown.
Right.
Offensively, you'd have to say the Giants have been at least even, if not maybe a little bit better.
5:05 for the Giants, 3:75 for Philadelphia on offense. Rocket a kick. Hickson is back.
No way Hickson's getting this ball.
Giants rush 9. Hickson's going to call for the fair catch.
Wow.
Ooh, and make it at the 9. And then a flag comes in from midfield after the play.
After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Number 41, correction of the receiving team. That penalty will be enforced. Half the distance, 1st and 10.
C.C. Brown. Well, that'll cost them 4.5 more yards, half the distance, and will make the Giants have to go 95 yards in 28 seconds.
Well, really your goal now is to get to Hail Mary range. So you want to get somewhere around midfield, however you can possibly do that. You know, possibility of a screen. You just never know what you might dream up in this situation.
Nix wide left. Manningham wide to the right. Smith coming out of the slot on the left. And Eli almost gets sacked in the end zone. And then it's thrown to Boss, and Boss steps out of bounds at the 12-yard line. And the game was almost over right there as Eli was able to get it away. But that took 9 seconds, and there are 19 left.
Talk about knowing where your receivers are. He's not even looking this way, about to take a sack and a safety, and knew exactly where Boss was. That's pretty remarkable. And complete the pass. I think you almost have to go Hail Mary here just to have a chance, because you got to catch it, and you have to get out of bounds.
Manning stepping up, chase, and then loses the ball, and that's going to be ruled as a fumble, and that will write a finish to this one. Joselio Hansen winds up with the football, and Darren Howard is able to claw it out.
Uh-oh, now we've got it going.
Yep.
Now we might get some fines and some suspensions, and there were punches thrown at the tail end of that play. And for the Philadelphia Eagles, You have this huge win. You don't need that. I know who I thought it was, but I'm going to hold on to make sure.
Because if it's not, you'll pay his fine.
Yeah, well, here's the fumble. No doubt about that one. So game over. Go to the sideline. Forget about it. And I think it's Trent Cole that comes in from the back. He's going to throw a punch.
After the play, personal foul, number 60.
2 punches.
New York taking the helmet off of a player. That penalty will be assessed half the distance. First down, Philadelphia.
Well, trust me, that won't be the only thing that comes out of that skirmish. And I think Sean O'Hara is saying you didn't see the 2 punches that led to that? Were you really watching?
Should have sent it to a neutral corner.
Yeah, for the Giants, though, they know they had a chance here tonight.
A golden opportunity. But the Giants, after starting the season 5-0, are now going to drop their 6th game.
They will offset at the succeeding spot. It'll be Philadelphia ball. Personal foul, number 58 for throwing a punch. That player's been disqualified. Personal foul, number 60. New York, they'll offset at the dead ball spot.
Giants starting 5-0, and take a look at that. Since they went to the current format in 1990, 29 of the 31 teams starting 5-0 made the playoffs. The only teams that didn't, the Saints in 93 and Mike Tice's Vikings in 2003.
I tell you, the wild card part of the equation right now, Al, is getting wilder by the minute. The AFC is really nuts. In the NFC, we got the Packers, the Cowboys, and the Giants. It's going to be interesting for the Cowboys. They're going to read some nasty headlines about December tomorrow.
Giants will be able to see a few too.
Yeah.
So Andy Reid and the Philadelphia Eagles have won 4 straight. After that loss to Dallas, they had 4 of 5 on the road, and now they go home. Home sweet home. In first place in the NFC East.